Listen, pal, your client's a scumbag. You're a scumbag.
Listen, pal, your client's a crumbag. You're a crumbag, and crumbags see the judge on Monday morning.
I understand that when movies air on television, some pieces of dialogue need to be changed. I mean, what if your grandma accidentally learned about the sex? However, sometimes the edited for television dialogue is either ridiculously nonsensical or way worse than what was originally said. Or both. Usually it's both.
Freak you, Sam Rothstein, freak you.
Weird Science is a movie about two nerdy high school students creating a sex genie using a Barbie doll and a computer because that's how science worked in the 1980s. They allocate the majority of her assets to other parts of her body besides her brain, so she accidentally reveals to their parents they're going to a party where there's going to be
sex, drugs, rock and roll, chips, dips, chains, whips. You know, your basic high school orgy type of thing. I mean, I'm not talking candle wax on the nipples.
And while that really sounds like more of a middle school party, the TV edit changed the line to say,
love, drinks, rock and roll, chips, dips, chicks, pizzas. You know, your basic high school ordinary type of thing. I mean, I'm not talking candle wax on their pimples.
Which makes the party sound intensely more disturbing and no less illegal, particularly the inexplicable pairing of girls and peaches. Hey, speaking of women, I guess, in Kill Bill, Uma Thurman is left comatose after being shot by David Carradine. Well, that or the coma was a result of having to look at his dehydrated pork chop face for longer than 3 seconds, but in either case, she wakes up briefly to a male nurse named Buck who delivers this little bit of poetry.
My name is Buck, and I'm here to fuck.
That's a little intense for Grandma, so TV censors changed the line to a much more benign,
My name is Buck, and I'm here to party.
They also went ahead and gave the new and improved Buck a new and improved truck to match. Maybe he's a kind-hearted man who tries to brighten the lives of those poor souls in his care by taking them to pizza parties in the party wagon. Either way, the line doesn't even rhyme anymore, and that's the real problem here. Then there's the third Die Hard movie where a mad bomber demands that drunken super cop John McClane wear a blatantly racist sandwich board in the middle of Harlem that says, "I hate N-words," or else he'll blow up another bomb. As you might imagine, McClane is quickly attacked by a street gang, but thankfully he is rescued by Samuel L. Jackson. But for TV, John McClane's sign merely says, "I hate everybody," which isn't so much offensive as a perfect slogan for a My Chemical Romance t-shirt. It also makes the guys who try to kill him seem extremely oversensitive. Oh, and speaking of Die Hard, if there's one line everybody remembers from the series, it's John McClane's classic,
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Well, when the second movie hit TV, they tweaked the line to say,
Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falcon.
Now, Mr. Falcon has absolutely nothing to do with anything. It isn't the name of a character or a title of a phrase in the terrorist plot. Those two words are never spoken at any point during the entire movie. Now, if they'd said Yippee-ki-yay, Captain Falcon, well, now we've got a stew going. And speaking of food, in Dumb and Dumber, Jim Carrey breaks up with Jeff Daniels and tells him where he can put their friendship.
Right on my ass after you kiss it!
Which, consequently, is the perfect response to literally any question. Now, that line doesn't sound too rough, but that didn't stop censors from tweaking it to
Right on my sandwich after you kiss it!
But the selection of the word sandwich, which doesn't match any of Jim Carrey's lip movements, is even more confusing when you consider that a sandwich does not appear anywhere in the scene. Also, why would you want another man to kiss your sandwich? Hey, speaking of butts, in The Big Lebowski, Jeff Bridges and John Goodman confront a teenager named Larry whom they believe has stolen a bag full of money from them. When the interrogation doesn't work, Goodman proceeds to destroy what he thinks is Larry's car and yells, "You see what happens, Larry?"
You see what happens when you fuck a stranger in the ass?
That's obviously a bit too spicy for your grandma, so they decide to replace it with nonsense.
When you find a stranger in the Alps?
I can't even begin to fathom what Wawa employee wrote the new dialogue.
This is what happens when you feed a scrambled eggs.
But at least most of these censorships don't make the line more offensive, like this tweak from Casino. The original line, yelled by Joe Pesci, starring in this film as Joe Pesci while in the desert shout fighting with Robert De Niro while they both wear their grandmother's sunglasses, isn't great.
Get this through your head, you Jew motherfucker, you.
But the edited line is actually way more offensive.
Get this through your head, you Jew money lover, you.
Why they didn't simply just remove Jew from the equation is entirely beyond explanation. Maybe TV censors are stupid?